This will be for the con exercise, radians and degrees. So most of you already know the angular measurement of one revolution around the circle is 360 degrees. Okay, but in terms of radians, which is another angular measurement, that equals 2 pi radians. So once you establish that 2 pi radians equals 360 degrees, if you want to simplify, you can just divide both sides by 2. Okay, the 2 over 2 cancels, and we're left with pi radians. I'll abbreviate RAD, and 360 divided by 2 is 180, and that's in degrees. So this is the conversion factor we're going to be using for this exercise. Pi radians equals 180 degrees. Okay, so here they want us to convert the angle theta equals 17 pi over 18 radians to degrees. Okay, this symbol is just a Greek letter theta. Yeah, it's just a Greek letter. It's pronounced theta. And it represents the angle measurement. All right, so don't be intimidated by that symbol. But we're converting this from radians to degrees. Okay, we said a minute ago that pi radians equals 180 degrees. All right, so let's write the starting number first. We have 17 pi divided by 18. And these units are in radians. Okay, so I'm going to write radians, or RAD. And we want to multiply by the conversion factor. Okay, when you have something equals something, you can multiply by 1 over the other. That's why I made a fraction here. It's almost the same as multiplying by 1. And the number on the bottom in the denominator depends on the units in the numerator, because if you have radians in the numerator right here and you want radians to cancel, then you want to write radians in the denominator here. So you have the radians on the top and the bottom, and it cancels out. So since we started with radians, this is in the numerator, I am going to write radians in the denominator. So we have pi radians, and in the numerator, we're going to do 180 degrees. Okay, instead of the little degree symbol, I am going to write DEG just for now. All right, and now you can cancel units just like you can cancel fractions, top and bottom. These are both multiplied by each other. Okay, we have radians in the numerator and denominator. So radians over radians cancel. We have pi in the numerator and denominator, so pi over pi cancels. Okay, and we're left with 17 times 180 divided by 18. 17 times 180 divided by 18. Now you can do this on the calculator, or you can cancel. I know 180 divided by 18 is 10. All right, but some of you may find it easier to use the calculator. So I'm just going to do 17 times 180 divided by 18. And I get 170. Okay, the radians canceled, but we're left with degrees. So the answer is going to be in degrees. All right, and that's what we wanted, 170 degrees. Now there's a shortcut method, and this only works when you're going from radians to degrees, not the other way around. Since 180 degrees equals pi radians, you can just plug in 180 for pi. So right here we have 17 pi over 18. You can just plug in 180 in place of pi. So that's going to be 17 times 180. Divided by 18. Okay, and that's the same thing we had before. We did this on the calculator a minute ago, and that was just 170. So same answer, if you want to use the shortcut. All right, 170 right in the box. Okay, here we want to convert the angle theta equals 35 degrees to radians. So the conversion factor, once again, that's going to be pi radians equals 180 degrees. All right, I'm going to write DEG for now instead of degrees. So we're starting with 35 degrees. Okay, I'll write DEG, and we're multiplying by a fraction our conversion factor. Now, right here, we have degrees in the numerator, but we want to get it to radians, so we want degrees to drop out. As a result, if we have degrees in the numerator, in the fraction, we want degrees in the denominator. And you just use the conversion factor. 180 degrees equals pi radians. All right, so when you have something equals something, you can multiply by 1 over the other. All right, let's see. We have degrees divided by degrees. Those cancel. And we're left with 35 times pi in the numerator. And we're left with 180 in the denominator. And these units are in radians, RAD. So you can reduce this fraction. However, I tested it out. The ones for radians, they don't make you reduce it. So you can actually just write 35 pi over 180. So in the box, type 35, and you can type PI, and it will give you the pi symbol, or you can just click the pi symbol. Then you can type /180. So 35 pi over 180. All right, so they don't make you reduce it for radians. Okay, here they want us to convert theta equals 3 pi over 5 radians to degrees. So for radians to degrees, we have a shortcut method. And that's going to be plug in 180 in place of pi. All right, so we're starting with 3 pi over 5. And I am just going to plug in 180 right here in place of pi. Very simple. So instead of 3 times pi, that's going to be 3 times 180 divided by 5. All right, so you can reduce this if you want. I'm going to let the calculator do the work. I'll do 3 times 180 divided by 5. And that is going to be 108. All right, and that's in degrees. So just enter 180 in the box. Whoops. All right, we said 3 times 180 divided by 5, and that's 108. Not sure what I said before, but I definitely entered the wrong number. So fix that 180, that's 108. All right, last one. We're going to convert the angle theta equals 70 degrees to radians. All right, we're going to use our conversion factor. Pi radians equals 180 degrees. So let's start with 70 degrees. And instead of the degree symbol, I am going to write DEG. This way I can cancel the units. All right, because it's hard to cross out that little symbol. So here we have 70 degrees in the numerator. We want degrees in the denominator. So I'm going to put the degrees down here. And that's going to be 180 degrees. All right, and if 180 degrees is in the denominator, I want pi radians in the numerator. All right, degrees divided by degrees cancels. And we're left with 70 times pi in the numerator and 180 in the denominator. And the units left over are radians, which is exactly what we want. Okay, you can reduce this fraction if you like, but they don't make you when you convert to radians. So it's just going to be 70 pi over 180. All right, so in the box, just type 70 pi for the pi symbol, or you can just click the pi symbol and then slash 180. So that's it. If you wanted to reduce it, it would have been 7 over 18 because you divide top and bottom by 10. But like I said, when you go to radians, they don't make you reduce the fraction. By the way, if you write the pi symbol in front of the fraction, that's the same thing. So if you had written 70 divided by 180 and multiplied that fraction times pi, that's the same thing as if it's in the numerator.